Hello guys, welcome to GizzyFix. Thank you very much for joining us today. Yes, I built a Nintoaster. If you're not sure what that is, it's basically a Nintendo Entertainment System stripped down and shoved inside a toaster. Why anybody would want to do this, I'm not sure, but I had a great time doing it. It's not my idea, I can't take credit. I will give full credit for this beautiful contraption after the intro. This monstrosity is actually the brainchild of Richard from the channel Vomit Saw. Amazing channel, if you've not seen it, go and see it. And ever since I thought that is so cool, I want to do it. It took me 13 years, but I got there in the end. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it is a pretty vanilla mod, okay? I've seen people do much more grander things than this, but you guys have got to remember, I'm not an electrical engineer. I'm a pretty normal guy, but I like to turn my hand to a lot of different things, and I really enjoyed this process. And I hope no one minds that I'm going to use the official music, because I believe it's absolutely iconic, and I love watching it even to this day. And if you've not seen it, you owe it to yourself to go and watch it, even if you're not interested in modding or electronics. He's a really funny guy, and genuinely really nice as well, so who knows, maybe you'll see this one day. So what you can see me doing now is trying to adjust the pins on the cartridge connector, because the NES is quite a strange design, but essentially this board is not actually working at the moment, so I'm getting that grey screen of death, which indicates some sort of earth fault or some sort of connection fault, which is what I'm trying to figure out now. I tried taking all the pins off and cleaning them and realigning them, and essentially I keep doing that until I start to get an image on the screen, and before long I've finally got it in a very particular place, and when I turn it on we're all good to go and I get a functioning board confirmed and working. Now I can start to look at stripping down my toaster. Yeah, I feel a bit self-conscious about this bit because this toaster was second-hand at a car boot sale, costing me 50p, so not too bad really. I wanted to use absolutely everything from the NES that I could, right the way down to the switches, and a key part of this is actually being able to turn it on. So I wanted to simulate actually pushing the handle down and pressing the switch on, and I think it actually works quite well. And the rest of it is just getting rid of everything that I don't need, and some of the structure will be useful in the future. Now, what some of you may not realise is Nintendo actually had a planned expansion for the NES, but they never utilised it. Essentially, we need to get rid of it because we don't need it either. It's just a painstaking process of desoldering every single one of these pins, even though it's quite satisfying watching the solder get sucked up like that, so we can make the board as flat as humanly possible. And with a bit of patience and a lot of desoldering, finally the expansion slot was removed. And it was a ball ache. So now I've stripped everything off, including the video circuit, which I'm going to have to sort out later. I'd like to bring your attention to these 5 little ports here. So the far left one is your video signal, then you've got your audio signal next to it, and then you've got your 5 volts in, which is going to power the whole board. And the last 2 is essentially you're going to touch those together would reset the whole board. If you want a reset button. If you don't, then you don't need it. But, you know, just for your awareness. And let's not forget to cut pin 4 on the lockout chip so we can be naughty and play all those naughty games. Well, I do pride myself on trying to recycle as much as possible, and it's the same with electronics. So just an old SCART cable gives me those RCA connectors that I actually need to be able to connect. So I'm only going to use an analog signal. So I'm just stripping them down. And the key part is I need to make sure that the right colors are in the right slots as well. Otherwise the video signals won't pass through. Same with the audio signals as well. So that's really important. I'm also going to use the same potentiometer that comes for adjusting the level of the LEDs that we'll get to later. But this is the most painstaking part. Now, every single connection on the 72 pin connector needs to go from one point to another using this cartridge connector here. So just to summarize, this is essentially what your toast would sit on. I've now insulated it with a bit of Kapton tape to make sure no electricity can flow, and also the cartridge connector is then going to sit on top. So I need to figure out a way to make it sturdy and fixed in place, and this was the idea that I had. So on either side it will just sit in between the pins, insulated, and essentially I just need to now strip it, and there's no better strippers for this IDE cable than my teeth. So now what I need to do is pre-tin every point on the NES board that the cartridge connector would have been slotted onto. Again, quite a painstaking process, but after a while it's all done. Give it a nice clean with isopropyl alcohol. So all that's left now is just to solder everything into place. I have to be very careful as to not get any cross wires, because one mistake here and nothing's going to work. It's a little bit of a shoddy job, but I can assure you it does work. Yeah, it could have been neater. But just to make sure, I've gone through and tested absolutely every single pin. Again, I've tried to test as much as humanly possible. But on the whole, it starts to take shape. It's as neat as I could possibly make it. Everything's where it needs to be, and it's coming along quite well. So this little gizmo here is the 7805. Now what this is a voltage regulator. This takes in any voltage and kicks out a nice clean 5 volts. It turns the rest of that into heat. You know, as long as it's got a big heat sink, we don't have to worry. Now I'm going to start looking at the switches. Now, as I said before, I wanted to use as much of the internals as the original Nintendo system as humanly possible. So I'm going to use the original switches, and essentially I'm just trying to figure out how they work, how they're fixed in place. And essentially it's just nice and easy. I can just desolder them, start to unfix them. Yes, I even use the original LED just for sentimental. I'm a little bit sentimental really. So essentially once I've got them out, they still work. I did want a reset button. On my first attempt many years ago, I didn't use one, but I thought, no, I'm going to use it. So I'm making sure that I understand how it works. I know that sounds stupid, but yeah, I just wanted to be absolutely sure on everything. And even the little lens that comes with the LED I wanted to use. The 1 and 2 plater indicators, I'm having to think how I can fix that in. And there we go. On the 7805, I'm starting to fix everything into place. It's just a lot of epoxy, but it does the job. I'm testing everything as I go, and I push down with the handle. It turns the system on. So it's really starting to take shape. Now what I'm doing here is sorting out my video circuit. Remember that thing that I was saying about earlier that I took off and I had to sort out at a later point? But essentially that's what I'm trying to fix here. And it's only a few components really. It's a couple of resistors and a transistor, nothing too major, but just so you can see it, the actual point that I took off was this great big silver box here. That's what handles all the video regulation inside the Nintendo. We don't need that anymore, so I can just solder new points. I did make a mistake. I actually put the wrong resistor in, so I had to bastardize one by using an old soldering practice kit to give me 230 ohms that I needed. I'm a little bit short, but I don't think it will matter too much. And now here we are, moment of truth. Genuinely, first time I ever tested it. I pushed the handle down. And that is the bewildered look of a man who's wondered how he's managed to accomplish this. Don't forget guys, I'm not an electrical engineer, I'm nothing special, I'm just a normal bloke, but I managed to get it working and I was so happy that I did. I think it was a real achievement. Now it's time to turn my attention to the LEDs because that's a real key part. I want to be able to have that warm orange glow like the elements of a toaster when you turn it on. So now I'm trying to figure it out. And my idea here was to use this structure here to attach the LEDs to get them in the right place and make sure they're not going to short out on anything. So there's nothing really much left to do. I've just got to solder them all together now, and I did them in series just because for the sake of ease, to be honest. And also remember that potentiometer that I said I was going to use? Yeah, so I'm just making sure it works and actually does regulate the voltage. This was one of the first tests with the LEDs that I actually tried dimming it, and it works because I think it was just a cool idea to use all the inbuilt things of... Oh, I died. All the inbuilt things of the toaster that actually existed before, that I can actually repurpose them and give them kind of a new lease of life. I think it's quite fascinating that you can use things in that way. Okay, so now I've got a bit of a challenge. I need to physically locate everything and figure out the logistics. Even just pressing the reset button, I can't just put the button in. It's got to press against something. Everything's got to line up. I've got to make sure that it's covered with a bit of perspex. How am I going to do that? Where am I going to put it? All these things for such a kind of a silly mod. You know, and you could see me figuring it out, and my idea was just a bit of perf board recessed into the toaster a little bit, and then essentially just forcing my way into a gap so I could slide a bit of perspex in and just make sure that everything is essentially covered. You know, it's mad the problems that you face for even such a basic mod. But apologies for the quality here. This was the best video that I could get, but you can see what I've done is just essentially Dremel out what I need to. Because I've changed the physical location of things, I had to make sure that everything was long enough. So essentially that's all I'm doing now, just extending cables. One of those painstaking processes. It's not really fun, but it needs doing. And I tested all the way through because if I had an issue, I wanted to catch it early. And just one by one, went through, everything seemed fine. And before long, it was actually all nipped. I don't do anything particularly fancy with the NES. I didn't want to push my luck, so I don't do any HDMI mods or S-Video or anything like that. But I thought, could I do anything interesting with the power? So I thought I'd use a USB-C power board and just wire it up in such a way that it delivers the lowest amount of voltage, because you remember that 7805? That essentially delivers 5 clean volts to the NES board that we need and the LEDs, and converts the rest of it into heat. So I don't want too much voltage left over because it will just get hotter and hotter, even though I put a monster of a heatsink on it. And I'd say we are about 90% 95% done here, and I was amazed that I managed to get. And I'm going to be totally honest, I actually destroyed one of these boards. I had an issue, it fried, and I ended up actually frying a couple of the chips on the NES board. It took me forever to find it, but I had an earth fault and I couldn't find it, and it disappeared once I actually started taking off chips. I think it was one of the main NES CPUs, but anyways, I got another board. I felt guilty because I'm like, no, I'm destroying another NES, but I went back through again. So what you're seeing is actually the second revision of just the board. I had to take everything off, redo it, put it all back on, but at least I didn't have to do some of the elements, so I did save a bit of time. In the end, I got it working. Taught me a good lesson. Just don't give up. You know, if you want to do it, don't give up. And just now testing the reset button. Yeah, you could argue that maybe I'm blagging it here, but I can assure you the reset button works. And it's just final touches now, guys. And I thought, okay, it's quite a basic look. I'm not too great with anything artistic, so maybe I'll just get a little vinyl sticker of Mario and Luigi. I thought it was quite cool. And I actually stuck an iFixit one on there as well because their kit actually really did help. It was actually really good. And the finished product, guys, there we go. That was it. It's nothing special. It really is a bit rough around the edges, but I thought, you know what, so am I. So I thought, actually, it's quite a good representation of myself as a person. You know, it works, it does the job, it's functional. You know, I'm amazed that I managed to get it working. I'm quite proud of it. As rough around the edges as it is, I actually really like it. And do you know what, when you turn it on, it works. And even the dimmer switch works as well with that potentiometer. So I was really, really happy with this mod. Like I say, she's nothing special, but she works. Yeah, so there we are, guys. That's the end of the video. Thank you so much for sticking around if you stuck around this long. If you liked anything or didn't like anything, let us know in the comments. Keep an eye on the channel. We've got some new videos coming out. I've got loads of ideas floating around in my head, but if you want to see anything in particular, let us know and I'll see if I can do it. It was a pleasure doing this mod. I really enjoyed it. Like I say, nothing special. Pretty vanilla in the grand scheme of things, but for me, it was a big achievement. So yeah, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're doing well and hope you enjoyed the video. And who knows, maybe I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.